Hello and welcome to East of Ethnia. This week, I think we have to talk about lithium. And the reason for this is that Serbia has now signed this week with the European Union an agreement on the extraction of lithium, a mining project that is meant to transform economic relations and probably also political relations within the region. So let me give you a little background here. I mean, lithium is probably the strategic mineral that is going to define a lot of the immediate future competition over lithium. And this is because as petroleum is replaced as an energy source, lithium will be used increasingly. For example, lithium is already used in the batteries of all of your computers and telephones and portable devices. It's used in the batteries of electric cars. And as electric cars come to replace petroleum-driven cars, the demand for lithium will be very high. If every petroleum fueled car in the world is replaced with a lithium fueled car, this will require more lithium for the batteries than there are known reserves for on the planet today. So there will be a lot of exploration, and this exploration will be very destructive. How long will this last? Well, we don't know. In the United States, they're trying to come up with a replacement technology that would take the place of lithium in batteries using zinc. Zinc is common and easy to find and doesn't present these problems, so that would displace it, but they haven't got there yet. So they're all looking for lithium. There are large lithium deposits in Serbia. Germany especially has been pushing the European Union to sign this agreement. They've signed it. Why is there such a rush? Well, one reason is, look, Serbia has large lithium deposits, but you know who in Europe has larger lithium deposits? Germany and the Czech Republic. But these are states that are more prosperous and are more politically influential and are aware of the dangers that come with lithium mining. And that's why they're not mining it there. They want to do it down south in a state that's less able to resist. What are the risks? Some of the risks we know about already. The environmental risks that are presented by lithium mining are massive, and this has already been a subject of protest in which the state in Serbia backed down on its plans to do lithium mining. Now they have reversed themselves on that. The state, the regime, is aware enough of the environmental risks that they produced a fake environmental impact statement. I mean, it has the form of an environmental impact statement, but is not based on any data to try to minimize the impression of environmental risks. But this we pretty much already know about, and we've talked about it before because there were massive and widespread protests about environmental risks before. Now the counterargument that is presented is that the mining of lithium could be a source of tremendous wealth for states in the region, one of the poorest regions in Europe in the future. Well, here's what I want to tell you. I mean, I can't predict the future. But I can tell you what sociology knows about economies in marginal states that are built on the extraction of a single resource or a small number of resources. And what this tells us is that wealth might be produced, but it's not wealth that is going to be in the hands of or to the benefit of a large portion of the public. The states that rely for most of their foreign exchange income for their wealth on resource extraction tend to be sites where cartels form around the extraction of the resource, controlling this resource. And these cartels come into alliance with increasingly authoritarian states whose primary job is to enforce the monopolistic control that these cartels have. So these cartels and the alliance of cartels with the state are resistant to competition. They are resistant to criticism. They tend to answer their critics with instruments like bone saws, if you know about an instance of one such state. And contestation in the state is more likely to be violent than non-violent, is not likely to take a democratic form. Generally, what we're talking about is violent conflict involving the control of the most valuable resource in the state. And this is the case, whether it is a legal resource that is being extracted, like the way that for a while the Islamic State was attempting to gain control over portions of the global petroleum market, or if it is an illegal resource, like the way that different paramilitary groups, including paramilitary groups that have names implying they had an ideological rather than an economic purpose, will tend to fight over control over resources like coca leaves or opium poppies. if you want to see whether this is true, think about any instance that you know about of a state that depends for its income on extraction of one or of a small number of resources. Think about it in terms of legal resources, like petroleum. Think of it in terms of legal resources that have a lower profit margin than petroleum, like palm oil. Think of it in terms of illegal resources, like narcotics, like the raw materials used to produce refined cocaine and heroin. Any of these cases that you know are going to bear out this thesis, which is well borne out by sociological research. Now, if the future then means a future of cartels, a small number of economic power holders in alliance with a small number of authoritarian and violent holders of political power, well, that suits the current holders of power in the region just fine. It probably suits the public less well. But let's talk about some other things that this brings. Because, first of all, this means that these new and emerging producers of lithium are going to be in competition with the established producers of lithium. The largest established producer of lithium in the world is Australia. So imagine a state like Serbia in competition with a state like Australia on global markets. This is entering a competition with a more powerful rival, and it's a competition that they cannot win. This is the same reason why Argentina, at the end of the Second World War, found itself in competition with the United States, exporting the same products that the United States exports in largest measure, and they lost because of a lower level of political and economic influence. It means that there is a constant threat of violence because violence will be encouraged by the impulse to control a very valuable research. And the third thing it means is that the whole source of this new wealth that will be very narrowly controlled is going to be unstable because new technology will emerge that will replace lithium and will make the market collapse. So you'll have a classic bubble in which a few people get rich using illegitimate means in a short time, and then it will collapse, leaving a lot of damage in its wake. Sorry, I can't make a more optimistic prediction. Thank you for your time and patience.